Defense Minister Rajnath Singh unveiled a 37-page document that may, in retrospect, be seen as a turning in India's military evolution. Friends, the expansion of the Defense Space Agency DSA marks a decisive step in this direction. With satellites like GS-87, GS-87A already operational, India has long possessed critical eyes on orbit. Space is no longer a benign environment, it is a contested, strategic, and increasingly weaponized. Namaskar friends, myself Deepak Kumar Rath. I welcome you all to the digital media of Uday India. In India Things Again today we'll speak about the war that is going on in Iran, and while much of the world remained fixated on the spectacle of missile exchanges across the Middle East, a quieter but far more consequential shift was unfolding in New Delhi on 10th March 2026. Within the understated corridors of the South Bloc, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh unveiled a 37-page document that may, in retrospect, be seen as a turning in India's military evolution. There were no dramatic announcement, no orchestrated media bleach, only a calculated articulation of the intent. Yet beneath that silence lay a transformation that signals India's transition from a reactive military power to a proactive multi-domain force. Emerges from this doctrine is not merely modernization but a reimagination of warfare itself. India is no longer preparing to fight wars confined to land, sea, and air. It is building capabilities across space, cyber, data, and cognition, the invisible theaters that increasingly determine outcomes before the first shot is fired. This is not about matching adversaries systematically, but about redefining the battlefield on India's own terms. Friends, the expansion of the Defense Space Agency DSA marks a decisive step in this direction. With satellites like GS-87, GS-87A already operational, India has long possessed critical eyes on orbit. However, the proposed SPS-3 constellation of 52 satellites signals a leap into persistent AI-driven surveillance and communication. In this architecture, satellites will not merely observe but interact, processing, sharing, and acting on data in real time. The implications are profound. Decision cycles shrink from hours to seconds, and battlefield awareness becomes continuous and indigenous. For a country historically dependent on foreign intelligence inputs, this represents strategic autonomy at its most fundamental level, the ability to see without permission. Complementing this is the emergence of a unified data force (DF), an idea that reflects lessons learned from both successes and failures in intelligence coordination. India's existing systems such as NETRA and NatGrid have long operated as fragmented nodes. The new doctrine envisions their integration into a singular analytical brain, one that ingests signals, intelligence, and operational data into a cohesive decision-making framework. In modern warfare, information superiority is often decisive, and the creation of such a system suggests India's intent to eliminate delays, reduce ambiguity, and act with precision. Equally transformative is the emphasis on unmanned and autonomous systems. India's experience with platforms like Heron, Searchers, and Harap has laid the groundwork, but the future lies in systems such as Ghatak, stealthy, autonomous, and capable of operating in swarms. Recent conflicts from Ukraine to Azerbaijan have demonstrated how drones can alter the balance of power by making warfare faster, cheaper, and less predictable. India's adoption of swarm tactics indicates a recognition that numerical superiority is no longer measured in soldiers or tanks but in algorithms and coordination. Victory in this paradigm is often decided in minutes, yet perhaps most intriguing and unsettling element of the doctrine is the creation of the Cognitive Warfare Action Force CWAF. This acknowledges a reality that many democracies have been slow to confront, that wars today are fought as much in minds of population as on physical battlefields. Deepfakers, disinformation, and perception management have become potent tools of statecraft, with China redefining such capabilities since the early 2000s and Pakistan deploying them in asymmetric campaigns against India. Institutionalizing cognitive warfare, India is signaling its intent not just to defend against such tactics but to engage in this domain proactively. It is a recognition that narrative dominance can shape geopolitical outcomes as decisively as military victories. Overlaying these developments is the formalization of a space command building on the momentum of the Mission Shakti test in 2019. Space is no longer a benign environment, it is a contested, strategic, and increasingly weaponized. Protecting assets in orbit and denying adversaries in the same advantage has become central to national security. None of this comes without significant financial commitment. With 6.81 lakh crore rupees allocated this year and projections of rupees 100 lakh crore over the next decade, India is investing at a scale that reflects both ambition and urgency. Crucially, the emphasis on domestic production, targeting 75 to 80% indigenization, aligns military transformation with economic and technological self-reliance. Admittedly, China remains ahead in several of these domains, particularly in integration and scale. However, India brings a different strength to the table, lived experience from Kargil to counterinsurgency operations, and more recently through missions like Operation Sindoor. India's military has accumulated practical lessons that cannot be easily replicated. This blend of experience and technological adoption may prove to be unique advantage. What this doctrine ultimately represents is a shift in mindset. By 2047, India envisions a force that autonomous, intelligent, and capable of operating seamlessly across domains, a military that doesn't merely respond to threats but anticipates and shapes them. It is a force that decides rather than asks. In the evolving grammar of war, silence is often the loudest signal, and in that silence, India has made its intention unmistakably clear. That's all for today. Stay tuned with Uday India and subscribe to Uday India. Thank you.